Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So I want to get started. What, if anything, did Democrats get out of the shutdown?
Well, I think Democrats made it really clear who we were fighting for and who Republicans were trying to stack the deck against. Democrats were fighting to make sure everyone had access to quality, affordable health care. Republicans refused to do that. I think that this was a stand that our party needed to take. I really look forward to making sure that we are organizing ahead of the upcoming vote around healthcare to make sure everyone has access to the benefits that they need. It shouldn't be a choice between bankruptcy and death for people. And unfortunately, that's a choice Republicans are dead set on making voters take in Wisconsin and across this country.
Now, some would argue that all we got from this was a near cancellation of food assistance and the looming skyrocketing healthcare costs. What's your response to that?
Well, Republicans could have avoided that. Republicans control all three branches of government, the presidency, the House, the Senate. Ultimately, this was their shutdown. I think it is certainly a fair ask that if they needed our votes to clean up their dysfunction, that they should have come to the table and helped provide health care benefits for working people. I think that's something they probably should have done anyways, with or without needing to get Democratic votes to do it. So it's really disappointing that they weren't able to make this their shutdown end sooner by negotiating with us in good faith.
Well, and in the final bill, these ACA subsidy extensions were not included. Those 8 senators who kind of strayed from party lines, was it a mistake to do that to get this deal?
I think it was. I think it was a mistake. I believe that this is really important to fight for. I do not think there should have been a deal without funding for health care. It's the same thing Senator Baldwin said, and I really appreciate her taking that stand as well. I understand that some folks can have different interests. Tim Kaine in Virginia has a lot of federal workers, so he is representing his state. But ultimately, this was a really good stand for Democrats to take in order to make sure that it's absolutely clear whose side that we are on and who Republicans are against.
And so, like I said, we didn't obviously see this included in the final bill, but there was a promise on a vote. Is a promise enough?
Personally, I wouldn't have had it as enough, certainly to sort of cast the votes to move this forward, despite the Republican dysfunction that could have caused it to move forward regardless. Now, at the same time, I think that this vote, we should plan on it happening. A promise was made. We have to operate under the assumption that that is going to move forward. And I think this is another opportunity for us to organize to make sure Republicans are held accountable for the votes that they will take to not move this proposal forward. Or if they choose not to move the vote forward, also hold them to account for that. Right now, they are actively choosing not to fund healthcare. And we are seeing skyrocketing premiums because of it.
And Speaker Johnson has said that he doesn't necessarily promise to bring that vote to the floor. What do you say to that?
An attempt to not bring votes to the floor that are causing skyrocketing increases in healthcare is going to be a disaster for Republicans. Working families in Wisconsin could be paying $30,000 a year for a family of 4 with the cost of healthcare right now. That is a Republican choice. So whether it's Derek Van Orden, Brian Stile, Scott Fitzgerald, or Tom Tiffany running for governor, these individuals are going to have to answer for that. And we're going to make sure that whether or not their speaker brings it to the floor, we are holding them accountable for standing by and letting them avoid the issue.
And is holding accountable, is that the strategy if there is no vote?
Absolutely. I think that we are going to organize, whether it is through town halls, whether it's through calls to action to have people reach out to their members and making sure everyone knows that Republicans have made this choice together.
And I want to ask, too, what the message for the Democratic Party is coming out of this shutdown.
The Democratic Party is the party that is clearly the one fighting for working people. The Republican Party is basically on the side of billionaires and perhaps the first trillionaire that we may see in this country, Elon Musk, who attempted to buy our Supreme Court election earlier this year for the Republican Party and for Donald Trump. We are the party that is trying to make sure working people have a fair shot, that the deck is not stacked against them. And I think that was made really clear in this fight.
But what do you say to the Wisconsinites who are missing paychecks and worried about their SNAP benefits?
Absolutely. Well, once again, if you want to look at SNAP benefits, I mean, it is the president who was trying to claw those back. Our governor moved those out the door as quickly as possible to try to get people the support that they need. Republicans are fighting tooth and nail against it. And let's also look at this in context, right? We had this one fight, but earlier this year, Republicans voted for a big, ugly bill that already came after folks' SNAP benefits, already came after health care that people need. And what they were really doing in this shutdown was coming for the crumbs that were left. Folks are already experiencing providers reaching out, letting them know their benefits may be in danger down the road. And Republicans cynically tried to sort of kick the ball on this to be after the midterms. But this is a freight train coming our way. Republicans have already taken a shot at these benefits. This is their goal. Their goal is to be able to take this away from folks so that they can either privatize parts of the government to enrich their donors or to save the money to pass it along directly to the wealthy corporate interests that back them.
And do you think that, going back now to the 8 senators that kind of voted against party lines here, do you think that this causes a rift in the Democratic Party?
I don't think that we have time to deal with a rift. I'm certainly disappointed that we weren't able to fight to the mat on the healthcare benefits, and those 8 senators made the decision that they did. But I think that we have to look to the future. And right now, the future for me is organizing around that healthcare vote and making sure that we are doing everything we can for voters to understand that Republicans are going to be at fault for not providing that funding that is going to cause skyrocketing premiums.
And just a week or two ago, Democrats were coming off some wins on a Tuesday election. This seemingly flipped the narrative of that win. What do you say to that?
Oh, I don't think this flipped the narrative of the win. I think that the narrative of the win is that voters are really concerned about cost of living and inflation right now. And this is something that I believe the fight around the shutdown really highlighted. When I'm talking about skyrocketing premiums and how it relates to cost of living and inflation, it's really clear. If people are already feeling pinched in their pocketbook, that is going to feel even worse when they are shelling out more and more and more for health care. Right now in Wisconsin, in the Marquette poll that came out recently, 69% of people said that cost of living and inflation was very concerning or very concerning to them. 69% of people also said President Trump is either doing nothing to make the issue better or actively making it worse. What I saw in the midterms were that our candidates were laser focused on what their voters wanted in states across the country, which is to bring down the cost of living, whether it's gas, groceries, or everyday goods, and Republicans are making it worse.
Do you think the shutdown has cemented health care as a key issue in the 2026 midterms?
I think healthcare, yes. I think healthcare is always an issue. I mean, it's the most important issue, right? People's ability to be healthy, to be active, to be able to live their lives the way that they want to. But it is also tying back to cost of living and inflation. When we are seeing premiums like this due to Republican inaction, by them ripping away benefits, this is something that is also costing people significantly more. I think it's a real double whammy for Republicans and how they're actually doubling down on their failed strategy, and it is really going to cost them in 2026.
And kind of last question here for you, who won this shutdown?
I think that the shutdown was a victory for Democrats, but the fight is not over yet. We have to make sure that we, between now and the next election, continue to come back to and fight for health care. I think that this made it really clear whose side that we're on and who Republicans are fighting against. I think that our mission now is to make sure that everyone understands that. I mean, so much of this complexity between a shutdown and a fight and, who can do what in Congress, when people are struggling, when people aren't able to sit there and digest cable news 24 hours a day, it can be hard for that to break through. So I think that this is an opportunity for us to finally highlight the Democratic Party and who we're fighting for and what we can do for working people and get voters to put the trust in us in 2026 that we're going to be the ones to deliver and help restore what Republicans have taken away.
So it sounds like you're saying even though these ACA subsidy extensions weren't included in this bill, the messaging coming out of this is strong for Democrats.
Absolutely. I think, once again, this made it very clear whose side we are on. We are on the side of working people, and we're going to go to the mat for them.
I think that's all I have for you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.